Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. On the 65th anniversary of Burkina Faso's independence, the president, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, addressed the nation in a speech. And there are a few critical points I want to go over that the president mentioned during his speech. First of all, the president, or the first point I want to go over is that the president mentioned the of course the progress of Burkina Faso and the need to seek true independence. But the president also spoke about that a lot of us want to like to we come and admire him for is also the fight against imperialism. And he said the fight against imperialism and neocolonialism will go on every day. And this is the thing that a lot of us has to preach and has to push to Africans, and they need to get it to understand that there is no imperialism. The system of imperialism grinds every day and it oppresses every day. So for us to get rid of this system, not just Africans but people around the world, to get rid of this system, it has to be a everyday thing. It can't just be today. You know what? Yes, imperialism. First of all, we have to define imperialism. What it is. Imperialism is the subjugation of a people through domination, taking their resources, whether and taking their identity for gain and leaving us in poverty, leaving people in poverty. But the president said the fight against imperialism will continue every day, and you can see that in Burkina Faso. And to get to my next point, which is connected. First of all, there was a lot of visual in this video. There was something in particular in this video. When the video started, you saw the zoom of a logo on a armored vehicle, and it's a scorpion with the name Nanga. These are armored vehicles that are manufactured in Burkina Faso. So you can see the president on this Independence Day. The president is sending a message that we have to industrialize, whether it's military, industry, and so forth. Later on, he went on to speak about economic operators to industrialize the country by processing raw materials, exporting less raw materials, and manufacturing the stuff they are importing. And the second point I want to go over is that the president spoke of Burkina Faso is a model, and the world and Africa is watching Burkina Faso, which is right. The world is watching Burkina Faso. The world is admiring the work of Captain Ibrahim Traoré and his men and the men around him and so forth. But not also Burkina Faso, but Mali, Niger. And you can see that one of the things that has come out lately is that under Captain Traoré, the economy of Burkina Faso have grown some 43% in the past 3 years. That is unheard of. You don't hear anything like that going on in anywhere in Africa right now, or even in the world. Which countries' GDP or economy has grown 43%? Some country in the West, like in Europe, some of them are negative. The economy is actually shrinking. And another thing the president also mentioned is that the offensive that are being carried out by the military, especially in the past month, I think it's the month of December, they have captured areas that these terrorists, imperialist backed terrorists, I will always try to emphasize that they've captured these areas in the past month on this offensive that they've launched without casualties. So you can see the work being put in by the Burkinabe military and also the authorities that are in power now to equip their military with modern equipment and fight this war in a modern way. You can see a country like Nigeria, the military is being embarrassed compared to, well, basically Nigeria is going through the same issue that Burkina Faso went through, let's say, about 5 years ago. 5 years ago, where terrorists would take video of them disarming the Burkinabe military, with the Burkinabe military running away. You can see even generals being unalived by these terrorists in Nigeria. So just to put that out there, compared Nigeria and Burkina Faso, the so-called Nigeria, the giant of Africa, where its military is being embarrassed by this guy with one foot in the grave, Tinubu, and the Lagos boys, the regime of Tinubu, who are taking dictate from France. Nigeria, which is like 3 times the size of France in terms of population, maybe 4 times, and size. So it's a strange world. It's a strange world we live in. But the fight against terrorism has been going well. You won't hear it in Western media or these propaganda media, whether it's online, mainstream media, or whatever. You won't hear it. So the Burkina Faso military have been doing a great job with this offensive and taking out these imperialist backed terrorists. But the subtle message of sending to Africans that are watching, because I don't feel like talking about the imperialists in this video, because this is not necessarily about them, but this is to motivate Africans by taking your destiny in your own hands. You see what you can achieve. Burkina Faso is fighting with 2 arms behind its back and its leg tied. It is basically fighting with its weapon in its mouth. So, and another thing I want to emphasize that the president spoke about is the communication. Those who speak out against this lies and propaganda and so forth that is spread through Western media. You can see what happened a few months ago with Mali, where the especially in French media, of course, in the whole Western media, of course, even media like Al Jazeera and those from the Middle East said Mali will be governed by Al Qaeda. So they've admitted that Al Qaeda is fighting in Mali and not these so called separatist groups. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have to see through this media lens or propaganda lens that you find online on your television and so forth. It's okay to be distrustful. It's okay because these people have been lying to us. They've told us that we were 1/5 or 2/3. I don't even know the number of a human being, whatever they call it. They told that we are descendants of apes, so we didn't evolve like they did, which is a complete lie. For centuries, you see the development that is happening with Burkina Faso. It is remarkable. It should be commended, and you know, do not let other people do your own research. Do not let the speech is out there. You can go and listen to the speech. It's online. It translate. You can find it on many channels, many places. It is translated into English. Of course, we're English speakers, and you can listen to what the president said. But kudos to Burkina Faso and the Burkina Faso military especially, because they started with basically nothing to where they are, where they can go a whole month on an offensive, taking back territory and recapturing, pushing these Western back or imperialist back terrorists out of the country and taking back their land without having significant casualty or any casualty, as the president says. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining